Hi everyone, I'm Paolo and welcome to a very special A Spoonful of Paolo episode. Okay, so 20 years ago today, Oprah Winfrey walked inside my dad's grocery store to make my wildest dream come true. Boy, did that change my life. Well, 20 years later, I am going to be sitting down to talk with the amazing Oprah Winfrey. This really is my thank you letter to Oprah. So I hope you all enjoy it, and I hope you all continue to believe in yourself and dream big. I'll see you guys with Oprah.
Spoonful of Paolo, here we go.
Tell me when you're good, Patrick. Are we all set?
Yep.
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, I want to say, I'm going to start by saying thank you, because my thank you is filled with gratitude, love, appreciation that you are here.
It happened.
It happened.
You manifested it.
Well, thank you for that.
Yes, you manifested it.
You know, the last time I saw you was earlier this year at the GLAAD Awards.
Yes.
You know, if someone told me, the younger self, who Paolo would always attend the taping with the Oprah Show, and someone would say, you're going to be giving an award to Oprah, I would say, look, I'm a big dreamer, but I would have said, no way. But can I tell you what a full circle moment that was? To be one of the presenters and to give a speech and to say the truth and to say what an amazing woman you are. Because to me, you are that guardian angel, my friend, my favorite teacher.
Oh,
so
thank you.
thank
I was
you.
so honored to have you be there and do that, and was glad that you said yes and came all the way from Chicago. And it was, I think, equally as meaningful for me as it was for you. And it was also important for me to have, you know, Chili Pepper there. And now Chili has just recently passed.
Yep.
So, I mean, I just felt like, I mean, when you were the first person that came to my mind, actually. And they had suggested a lot of, you know, interesting, famous people like, you know, Coleman Domingo or other people who were, you know, a part of the GLAAD community. And I said, no, there's this guy named Paolo. Have you heard of A Spoonful of Paolo?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. I'm like, I told my husband after I was talking with your team, I was bawling, crying. I'm like, she could have asked Ricky Martin, but she asked me.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe she made a mistake, but I don't care. It's too late, you know? But thank you for saying that.
Yes.
It means a lot to me. You know, 20 years ago today, you walked inside my father's grocery store and you changed my life. You changed my life.
Was it 20
years ago today, you changed my life. And I knew that when you walked into the store, I don't know what you were going to say or do. I just remember, wow, my life will never be the same. So I want to watch a clip of you walking inside my dad's store,
Okay, let's
just so
do
we can
that.
see it, okay?
I remember that
Paolo? Is Paolo here? Hello, Paolo. How are you?
Oh, I love that face.
You can stop writing me the emails now. You have a big dream to become an actor. Pack your bags because you're going to NBC Studios in Burbank. I have gotten you a walk-on speaking role in Will and Grace.
What?
Oh my God.
Yes. He didn't win an Academy Award, or did he? He just had a walk-on speaking role. Okay, you're gonna come with me. Can he have some time off? He needs some time off. We're taking him to Hollywood. Okay? He's going to Hollywood
Jack.
to be on the Will and Grace show. It's one of our favorite shows.
Oh, that is, boy, that warms my heart just to see that. Yeah.
You know, you've taped like 4,561 Oprah Show episodes, but for me,
To be exact.
be exact.
Yeah.
But season 19, the Wildest Dream season, was so special because you didn't just make my dream come true. You made so many other people's dreams come true. And, you know, I was thinking 20 years later, you know, all those cars you gave away have so many miles on them. All the house makeovers, you know, they're not so fresh. Will and Grace is not on TV anymore. What do you think is that one thing that still has lasted 20 years later from making all those dreams come true?
Hope and possibility. Because what happened in that moment regardless of whether I love that moment when I say, you didn't win an Academy Award, you just got a walk-on role. But the joy that was literally exuding from your body was palpable for the audience, for me, for everybody in that space. And that moment, as you have shared with me, that moment changed everything in your life, because that moment says anything can happen.
Yeah.
Oprah Winfrey can show up, your life changes, your father thinks of you differently, the rest of the world sees you differently. And the fact that I was the vehicle for that means that that can happen. And when other people see it, it opens up the aperture for possibility and hope and dreams that can be fulfilled and manifested. And so, I often say this about favorite things, which I love so much, and I love doing that almost as much as you enjoyed receiving it. But I love the offering to people, because I know that even if you get the car, or you get the trip, or you get your bills paid, or you get the free opportunity to do something, that it's not that thing, it's what it opens in you. It allows you to see yourself differently, is what I think that did.
That's what exactly it did.
It allowed you to see yourself differently. And because you then start to see yourself differently, you then begin to manifest differently. Things change for you, because you say, see, I'm not just going to be here in this grocery store living up to my father's expectations of who I can be.
Yeah, you relit something in me, like something was dying in me. I thought maybe there was no hope, no possibility. Here I am in the suburbs working at the store. I wasn't happy. I was writing you so many emails because I'm like, if someone's going to help me, it's going to be Oprah. But the truth is, literally a month before, I came to a taping, because I told you I came to a lot of taping of the Oprah show, and you were interviewing Jennifer Lopez and Richard Gere. They were promoting their movie, Shall We Dance? And I came with my friend, and I remember during a commercial break, I looked at him and I said, just wait, one day I'm going to come through the wood Oprah doors and she's going to interview me. Now, did I think it was going to be a month later? No. But what do you think that is? Like, I literally said it to my friend. There was something I felt, something, I don't know what it is in the universe, and I believed, I saw it, like I literally saw it.
Yeah.
And then you walk inside my dad's store a month later, like, what is that?
Well, that's a longer conversation than we have time for.
Yeah.
But I so firmly believe in that, Paulo. I believe that when the energies align, there was a moment in time when everybody was talking about The Secret. And I remember we did The Secret on the Oprah show. And I got a lot of criticism for it at the time, because people are like, Oprah's telling people, Oprah's trying to have her own church. Oprah's telling people you can just manifest your dreams. You don't just manifest your dreams by saying, oh, I wish for this thing. You have to have, the manifestation has to start in a pure place. It has to come from a place that's so humble and pure and align with the energy of everything else in that moment. So you attract the thing to you, not because, oh, I just want this thing. It's because it's the purity of the vibration that attracts the thing. And so there was something inside you, obviously, that was pure enough, whole enough, fulfilled enough inside yourself to dream that big, and then it manifested it that quickly. I'm telling you, that's how it happens.
I believe that.
And you have to do it, and then you have to let it go, because a lot of people just hold on to it.
Surrender it, let it go.
Yes. And when you're doing that, you're in resistance to the thing, instead of, you just say the thing and then you just let it go.
My gosh.
Yes.
When I came to a lot of the tapings of the Oprah show, because it just felt like a safe space for me. It felt like a magic. I remember walking through those doors and seeing the Sally Lou and Siobhan, and like, oh, he's here again.
Sally Lou and Siobhan did audience.
That's it. So they knew me then. They're like, oh, here he is again. But there was, one of my favorite part was.
Do you know how many shows you went to? How many?
Oh, it was like 2 a year. So I've been to like 20, 25. I've been
Really?
to so many, yeah. Because I'm telling you, it's like people love going to Disney World because it's a magical place. Well, for me, growing up and living in Chicago, going to your taping was just magical. And what I love the most about it is that when you were done interviewing the guest, you would talk to the audience. And it was so organic and so real because you would just ask questions. But I think what some people don't know is like the first 10 years, you were just like signing autographs after autographs. And then one day you had a doctor's appointment. And I know that changed everything for you because you started saying to yourself, what do I want? So what did you want after you went to the doctor and saying something didn't feel right?
Well, what I realized is that all those years I was just literally writing, there'd be 325 to 350 people in the audience every day.
Gosh, yeah.
And every day I would stand and sign and stand and
You weren't
sign.
even looking at them. You were
I
just
wasn't even looking at
next,
them. I was just signing next. And I was doing it for them because people got up and, the tickets are free, but people got up and came from all over the country. And I thought, okay, well, I owe people something other than, okay, bye. And the day that I had the doctor's appointment, I realized when I came back to work, because, I was taping by that time 2 shows a day, I realized I had so much more energy. Even though I had to leave the building and go to the doctor, I was like, wow, I have so much more energy now for the next show. I didn't realize how draining it is to do the thing that you don't want to do. And that's whoever is listening to us. It's whatever you're doing. And I worked at my father's grocery store.
I know you did, yeah.
And I felt like, I know I cannot do this the rest of my life, So it was draining. I felt drained by the process of doing autographs. It didn't lift me up. So I actually asked myself the question that I tell everyone else is the most important question, is what do I want? And so to answer your question, I wanted to have a deeper connection with the people who were supporting me in the Oprah show. The viewers who were coming from every place in the United States and many places in the world. And I wanted to just understand why they came, what it was about the show that really inspired them, motivated them, caused them to continue to watch. And those conversations after the show became my own focus group. It was my way of, it's the thing when I ended the show that I missed the most. I didn't miss doing the show, because that is a real work every day. But what I really missed, and continue to miss, is that interaction, conversation with real people who are living their lives, doing the best they can, and trying to, mainly because they are a part of that audience, live their best lives. People who are really striving to do well in the world by themselves and by their families and communities.
I'm so glad you listened to yourself and you did that, because even me being the audience, you could just look around and you could just see everybody was engaged. It was just a real conversation.
Yeah.
It's like what Carol Burnett did with her show when she would go on stage and she didn't know what they were going to ask her or questions.
Right.
She just answered the questions, and you did the same thing too.
I did the same thing every day after the show.
I know, because all the times I came, you did the exact same thing. I know. I know. You know what I loved about you is because, look, not only you make so many dreams come true, but you healed so many people, and and I am one of them, because I remember a particular taping. I wrote it in my journal. It was February 8, 2010. You spoke to 4 admitted child molesters. And I remember that very clearly. And
was that the one with the guy with the
David? It was, and there were 3 other guys. Yes.
The guy who molested his sister.
Yes.
And he said, I might as well have killed her.
Yeah, he killed who she could have been.
He killed who she could have been.
Yeah. And I remember that because I was molested by my teacher. Later on, my teacher had taken his own life. So for me, there was so many layers. I saw therapists for years. I never understood what happened. I really always thought it was my fault, no matter what my therapist would have said. But you said something that I want to share, because anyone else out there, this could help you. And you said this, which I thought was really, it just hit me. I started crying right after. You said, so if you have been carrying the guilt, the shame, which is the true horror of thinking that you are to blame for your own abuse simply because it felt good, that is exactly what they wanted you to feel, so that you wouldn't tell. It is not your fault. Oprah, I don't know, but when you said that, it was like one of my first aha moments that I can remember that was life-changing, because something in me just felt relieved, felt like, I get it. I get what you're saying. It was just in that context.
But didn't you get it? It was not that show with those molesters, but it was a previous show that I had done with a group of molesters, talking about, and the guy was describing how he was able to manipulate his 13-year-old daughter.
How he groomed.
Yes, how he groomed the daughter.
I remember.
How he waited 6 months
Oh, yeah.
before he actually touched her breasts. He was playing games with her and then would touch her feet, her knees, her thighs, and then one day said, I'm going to go for the breasts.
Yeah.
And it was that conversation that did for me what you're saying I did for you in this conversation. It was what I just had, oh my God. Everything I've even said on this show myself, every book I've ever read that said it's not your fault, it's not your fault, a part of me always still felt that it was.
Wow.
A part of me
That's how I felt after my session.
Yes.
Even though,
Yes. A part of me always felt like, well, if I hadn't have let him do this, well, if I hadn't have let him tickle me, then it wouldn't have started. I did laugh when he started tickling. And it was only in that moment that I realized, oh, this was a manipulation. This was a seduction, that this was planned, as it was with your teacher. They thought about what they were going to do. They planned it.
Yeah.
They tried to do whatever they could to manipulate you in such a way that you would feel like it was your fault. You did, and so did I. And that's what the good ones do.
Yeah. Yeah, for me, because I was in special ed classes, I didn't speak English, so for when I grew up, so they put me in these classes. And when I was staffed out in high school, the deal was you can be in regular classes, but you need to stay with the teacher after school and study. He knew that I was lonely, I had no friends.
And
He saw
didn't
that I was
speak English.
And I didn't, yeah, exactly, yeah. So it was, but so when you
And then
explained it that way.
when you think about, so yes, when I learned that myself on the show.
Wow.
I learned that myself on the show.
It's so, oh my God. Okay, look, we gotta move on because I could keep talking about this.
Yes, but
okay,
that's where I
there
learned it. That's
Okay.
where I finally freed myself.
Yeah. And speaking about you, you say this story all the time, and I just love it. You lived with your grandmother for the first 6 years, and when you were 4 years old, you were watching your grandmother. You were in the back porch behind the screen.
I love
and
that story too.
She was hanging clothes that she had boiled in water, and as she was talking to you, she had clothespins in her mouth, and she said, "Oprah Gail, you better watch me because one day you're going to do this for yourself." And then you had this big voice in your head and said something like, "Oh no, that's not going to be me. That's not going to be my life." I've always wanted to ask you this. What was that voice? Because you're 4 years old, but you still remember today that there was a voice in you saying, "No, Oprah Gail, that's not going to be my life. That's not going to be you."
It's the same voice that we all have, that you had when you dreamed the dream of being out of your father's store one day. It's the same. I could hear it, but it's actually more of a feeling where you just feel so strongly, no. And I could hear the no. I could hear, no, that's not going to be your life. And I have been listening to that voice my entire life. And the only time I've ever made mistakes in life is when I didn't listen to the voice or I overrode the voice. But everybody has the same voice. And if you allow the noise of the world to drown out that voice, then you make mistakes all the time. But I'm telling you, the voice in that voice, your intuition, your ability to tap into that is actually the voice of the universe. It's the voice of God. That's who you really are.
Yeah.
That's the soul of you saying, no. Now this other thing of, the noises outside and people trying to tell you who you are and saying things about you, that is completely separate from that inner voice that is there to guide all of us.
Yeah.
You know that.
Oh, I know that for sure.
I
know that. Oh, you said it so perfectly. And I had a question about that. You just said it so perfectly.
Yes, but it's the thing that said, Patrick is the one. It's the thing that says, I've heard the voice for major things and all small things. I hear it all the time. I listen to it all the time. What should I do? What should I do? But when I was in Baltimore and was a reporter in Baltimore and doing very well, and they offered me a job to stay there, I remember thinking my inner voice said, "It's time to go."
Oof.
The inner voice said, "It's time
Your
to."
inner voice is good.
Yeah, my inner voice said.
You better give it a name.
My inner voice said.
I'll give it a name, okay?
Okay. It said it's time to go. And everyone that I knew, with the exception of Gail, said, "You're going to fail in Chicago."
Ooh, I know it.
Every single person said I was going to fail. And I was willing to fail. I had already decided what I was going to do when I failed. I'd said, "Oh, okay, so if I fail, I'm going to teach or I'm going to go into advertising." I don't know diddly squat about advertising, but I thought, oh, okay, maybe I could go into advertising or I could teach. But I would have had to go back and get my degree to teach. But I felt strongly, though, regardless of what happens, even if I fail, it's time to leave here. Whatever happens, I know I'm not supposed to be here anymore. I could feel that.
Yeah.
I could feel that.
Yeah, that's so, to me, that's what makes you so special. And you've been a special person since you were born because because your grandmother taught you how to read.
Yes.
You were 3 years old when you started to read.
Yeah.
And then I think she went to school up until 3rd grade.
Yes.
But when you were in 3rd grade, you had a book report due, I think on a book called Honestly, Katie John.
Oh my God, you know the stuff, man.
Well, of course, it's Oprah Winfrey. Of course you're going to know the stuff, okay? You know a lot about me too. But I'm interviewing you. You're not interviewing me. But you did that. You had 2 weeks to do that book, but you did it in 3 days.
I did.
That your teacher, Ms. Driver, told Ms. Duncan. They were so excited. And like, it's just, to me, it's like,
Ms. Driver told Ms. Duncan.
just
That is
like,
so
yeah,
correct.
they were both so excited.
Yes.
So like, do you even remember how you felt? What did you learn from that moment? Because did the voice tell you like, oh, you're on the right road? Like, this is good. Like, keeping who you are. Like, what was that moment like? Because you're only in 3rd grade.
Well, this is to all the teachers who are listening to you right now. I felt seen and I felt valued.
Oh.
And I felt that feeling was so good that I wanted that feeling again. Oh. So I wanted to read another book and turn that book in earlier.
You're like, this is my student.
I wanted to feel that again. I wanted to feel that kind of value because I did not get that from my home. I didn't, even though I was at the time living with my father when I was in the 3rd grade, I never got the sense of, you are loved, you are cute, you are fun, you are my child. So my great value came from school and teachers. And so I thought, okay, that means when you do your best, other people notice. And so I'm going to do my best again. And so that's where that principle of doing your best work and turning it in early and making an impression came from. That's where that seed was planted.
You worked so hard because you would go to school. You would go to school from like 8 to 1. Then you would go work from 2 to 10. You would cover the 6 o'clock news every day. And then you would study until 1, 2, 3 in the morning. That's determination. That's hard work. And that's why you are where you are today. Where did you get that from? The hard work, the determination. You're young. You're going to school. You're working. But where did that come from? Did that come from your dad?
That came from my dad. Absolutely came from my father, who had his own store.
I love
and wouldn't close that store. I don't care what holidays we're opening because somebody might need some bread.
Yes.
Okay,
for that one person who needs some bread, I'm going to keep it open.
Bread and milk. I'm like, yeah, oh my gosh, can't we just close the store on Christmas Day? Well, nope, somebody may need some bread. I can't believe it. So yes, the hardworking, the work ethic came from my father.
Wow.
And also the discipline for money, the reason why I have been able to manage, I think, my success financially so well, even when I was making enough money to get a major car. I remember thinking everybody around, when I used to speak at the schools in Baltimore, I would park my car 2 blocks away because the first time I was speaking, kids would ask me, what kind of car do you drive? Do you drive a Benz? I was driving a Chevy Chevette. I don't even know if you know what that is.
No, I know the Chevy, but the Chevette?
It's a bucket. It was a bucket. It was a bucket on 2 wheels, and it had 2 doors.
And that's why you parked it far away?
I parked it far away so that the kids would not be, so I wouldn't be embarrassed, and because the kids would be like, what? You work on TV and you don't have a Benz?
Oh my God.
You don't have a BMW? You don't? No, because the discipline of my father taught me, I didn't have a credit card until I was in my late 30s.
Yeah.
because my father was like, if you don't have it, don't spend it. You don't live beyond your means. You never, ever get yourself outstretched beyond your means. And I remember when I first got a credit card, I was like, oh, this is great. This is great. And I remember taking out a what do you call it, a compound loan or something in order to pay it off, because it was $1,800 and I didn't think I would ever get that paid.
To pay that off, yeah,
Yes.
Wow.
So I have a thing about paying cash for things and not having any debt.
I love when you say you got that from your father, because it makes me, people always ask me, where do you get this inspiration of working hard, booking guests on your show, doing it for 14 years? I get it from my dad. My dad came from Italy. He had a dream of coming here, marrying my mom, having all these kids, opening his own grocery store, and he spoke no English. But he did it with hard work, determination, because his father, what he did in their farmland in Italy, he's like, I'm gonna do it, and I'm gonna go even further.
And America can do that.
And American can do that, yeah.
Yes,
and that's why, so when
that.
You say that about your dad, every time I get it, and it's just,
you get it.
I get it, I totally get it. When you did your first interview, People Are Talking, you co-hosted in Baltimore, and you always say that first interview with Tom Carvel, the ice cream man, and then the character from All My Children, Benny. You say that was... We all love Benny. I don't know who Benny is, but I just know that you always say Benny, the character from All My Children.
All My Children, yeah.
Yes, but you say that's when you became yourself. There was that voice again that you've been talking about, that you were able to say, this is what I should be doing.
I remember that day.
What a relief that must have felt for you.
It felt like, wow, so this is what I'm supposed to be doing. Because I had been an anchor woman for the news and sitting there doing that professional news voice. I had been on the street reporter. I had been doing that for years, and I was never comfortable with it, And my father, you're not gonna make money like that. They're paying you $25,000. You better keep that job. So I was like, it doesn't make sense to quit the job that you're making more money than your father is making at the time. But I never felt like myself when I was doing it. And the day I sat down in a chair similar to this one and did that first interview with the Carvel ice cream man and Benny from All My Children, I felt like I had come home to myself. I just felt like, this is it. This is the thing. Who knew that this was the thing?
Who knew?
I didn't even know that this was something I was supposed to be thinking about or dreaming of. I didn't know to dream to be a talk show host.
But that moment, then that you did on that show for those years, I love, because when you were talking about AM Chicago and you came to Chicago and everybody was saying you're not going to beat the beloved Phil Donahue because he was the king of daytime.
Yes.
But Gail was the only one who said no. You can. She believed in you. I love it, because then I think after you did AM Chicago, like the day after, you went to Carson Perry Scott, a department store in Chicago, and everyone knew your name.
Yes.
They said your name right. They were saying, "Hey Oprah," and you're like, "Hi."
Hey. Yes, exactly. Man, you got the goods. Carson Perry Scott.
I
remember that.
Which don't exist, but you went there and they all knew you.
Yeah.
And then I think, but AM Chicago, they started calling it the Oprah Show by the end of the first week. People weren't calling it AM Chicago.
Yeah, people were calling it the Oprah Show, and it was several months. Can you imagine the management at the time? Their heads were blown off because they never expected it.
No.
And this is what I love. This is what I love, when people underestimate you.
Yeah.
Now I have, my daughter girls from South Africa, going through their, adulting thing, and they're like, you walk in the room and people underestimate you. I go, that's the best possible thing. That people underestimate you because you get to then show them who you really are.
It's such a good feeling inside too.
It's such a great feeling. And do you know that being underestimated is what actually allowed me to become as successful, certainly financially, because I have to tell you, if those dudes knew that I was going to make as much money as I have ended up making, they would have never agreed to the terms of that contract. It's because they didn't expect it to do as well. But they were willing to give me half.
Oh my gosh.
And then to give me 60% and 70%.
Wow.
By the end, I was making 92%.
Wow.
So they would never, because by that time I could force them to do it.
Yeah.
Because they would say, well, I won't continue unless I get this. But let me just tell you, it never, ever, ever would have happened if they had actually thought that it was going to be as successful as it was.
I am so glad you didn't give up. I'm so glad you didn't listen to them. I'm so glad you did it. You knew what you could do because you believed in yourself. The best thing is when you can believe in yourself. You don't need people to say, I believe in you. You knew that you could do it.
I
It's
knew.
the best feeling inside.
Yes, I knew that. And it actually was because I had gone to do The Color Purple, and I never wanted more than anything that whole story.
Yes.
And my attorney at the time, Jeff Jacobs, said to me when it came time to renew the contract, he said, you never want to be in a position again where they can tell you what to do. So what if you consider owning yourself? And he goes, you take the risk of if it fails, then you fail with it. But if you win big.
Wow.
So I said, well, I'm going to vote on myself every time.
And look.
And look where we are.
Are you all watching? And you looking good? Are you looking good?
Look where we are now. But no, well, first of all, I always knew in that voice again, inside myself, that the show was going to be successful nationally. Everybody else was worried about syndication. I was not worried about syndication because we had tested it in Chicago. We didn't test in New York, and we didn't test in Los Angeles. And I felt like Chicago was the root of the country. I felt like we were in the center of the country. And because I was talking to those audiences every day, I knew that those women coming to the audience were no different than women in Rhode Island and Maine and, Seattle and New Mexico and all around. I knew that there was a commonality, that what those women were talking about, everybody felt the same. And so I wasn't worried about, it's just going to be a Chicago success. I understood, because of the voice inside myself, that what we were talking about was bigger than just, little women talk.
I'm so glad it was Chicago because that's how we met. That's why I came to all the tapings. I knew that number was the audience number was 312-591-9222. It's disconnected.
Call now.
Call, yes. And it was like when you would call and you got through, it's like winning the lottery. Oh my God, you got through, and you just have to wait till they pick up the phone, and then they're going to tell you 4 people can come to the taping. Oh, such a good feeling when you win. That's such a good feeling.
Call now. I mean, this is how we used to get guests, y'all. We go, call now. If your sister has had sex with your husband, call now. If you
But it worked. People were calling.
Yes.
They were calling for that. You could say whatever you want to say. They were calling for that.
Then the producers would sit on the phone and they'd say, "Oh, when did your husband cheat on you? Can you tell us?" I mean, I'm telling you, that's how we got guests for the show. Can you imagine that now?
No, they don't.
Now
do that
you
now.
couldn't.
No, that's
You
not going to
couldn't do
work.
it.
You cannot do that.
No.
There's no
People
way.
would just lie.
They would lie and say whatever they want to say just to get it to be in the show, to go to the taping.
Yeah.
This feels so good sitting here with you. I want to say something to you because, as you know, my mom passed away 2.5 years ago. And so grief, it's like a wave for me, up and down, because my mother, I think me being a gay child, she was so protective over me. We had such a beautiful relationship. When we were watching that video and I saw her hug me when she walked in with those flowers.
Yes.
It was just, she was so proud. She was so proud of me. I remember right after when you left, your team was there interviewing me. She called everyone in Italy to explain what happened because they all knew you in Italy. Like, my grandma, Nana Maria, my mom say, oh, però è venuta a Rustoro Valle, oh, come era bella. Then my grandma like, no, però, oh my God, it's just like, it was such a beautiful moment. But when my mom passed away, you sent me a message, and I have it printed out. I have it everywhere, and I wanna read it just in case this helps anyone else out there who's grieving, because I saw something in this message. You said, "Hey P, see if you can shift your focus from the physical loss to spiritual gain. Start looking for all the ways she shows up in your daily life. She's with you, around you, through you, more so now than even in physical form. Acceptance is the last stage of grief." I don't know what it is, Oprah, but you're like that angel because your words are so beautiful. How you say things that makes me understand what you're saying. So it was really beautiful.
Well, I'm glad that connected with you. I feel that so strongly, that anybody who's loved you, and this is true, y'all, anybody who has loved you in the flesh, in the dense, thick bodies that we are, when they ascend to wherever it is, whatever you think it is or whatever you don't think it is or don't even imagine, whenever they drop that body and move into wherever everybody goes, The spirit is lithe. It is flexible. It is able to move in and out and around and through in a way that abides with you. Anybody who has loved you on the planet in the flesh is actually closer to you and becomes more a part of you when they are gone, because they have the power to do that through the spirit. And anybody who's been loved by anybody in the flesh, when that person leaves, you have more power than you've ever had in your life.
Wow.
That is why every time, I remember years ago we were watching some fight that Mike Tyson was supposed to have with somebody. I can't even remember the person. Maybe it was Buster somebody. Anyway, and I saw the pre-game show program about the other guy. And I said to Stedman, oh, that guy's going to win. And Stedman goes, you are out of your mind. The odds are this, that. He doesn't have a chance. I said, that guy's going to win because his mother just died.
Oh.
His mother just died. And his mother is going to be in the ring with him. And he won. And so Stedman wakes me up in the middle of the night after the fight.
You're right.
You're right. You're right.
You're right.
Don't mess with nobody and their mother just died. Don't even try to touch somebody and their mother just died. Wow. That mother thing is so strong. It's powerful.
I do believe my mom, when your team had confirmed that this was going to happen, my husband and I, we were in Montreal, and my mom signed to me our bluebirds, because when she passed away, I was very specific with my mom. I said, Mom, if you can send me bluebirds, I would be so happy. And then 2 days later, my husband and I walked on Michigan Avenue, and we passed a store, and the store window had all bluebirds. So my mom sends me bluebird signs. When we're in Montreal, there was this like a painting of all bluebirds.
Yeah.
And Chelsea had emailed me saying that you said yes. And I literally passed the mural of the bluebirds. And so then we went inside the hotel, we sat on the couch, because I was just taking it all in. I was taking in what my mom was telling me, I was taking in what Chelsea was telling me, I was taking in what you told her. And it was just, I don't know, it was just a beautiful moment.
It was an affirmation,
yes,
right?
an affirmation. Because it was a
that is
what
real.
you said here, what happened over there.
It's real.
You're surrounded by it.
It's real. It's real. I mean, it's real. And, people can say whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
I know that for those of us who are attuned and you pay attention, you see it.
Yeah.
You see the signs.
But for you, when you grieve, because, you lost, your mom was 83 years old. That was in 2018. Your dad was 88. He passed away in 2022. You've lost many
89, because he wanted that.
89. Let's
he
that.
wanted to turn 90.
Okay.
Yes.
But then you've lost many people. I think you're mourning 21 dogs. Is it 21 dogs? But when you grieve, Oprah, because to me, I think of you as you're this teacher. You have all these tools. Is grief like you, is it like a wave or?
No. Because I think I have a different relationship with death. I know I'll be tested in the end, but I have learned, this is the thing with me, Paula, I would have to say that one of my greatest gifts is that I have paid attention to life. Not just my life, but the lives of everybody who's been on the show. So I never had to go to therapy because I was listening to everybody else's therapists. And I was paying attention to, if you do that, then this happens. I understand that law of cause and effect. I understand that what you're putting out is coming back all the time. And I understand that when you, quote, die, that the body is no longer here, but that the spirit is stronger than ever. And I understand that because I've had 20 dogs to pass, or 18 dogs to pass, 18, 19, got 3 more left. So I've had 18 dogs to pass. I have 21 dogs in so far, and I'll probably get it. I won't get another one until Sadie passes, because she will not be able to handle another dog coming in. But every one of those dogs had their own little dog souls, and I would notice. I learned from my dogs passing that the spirit of each one was different, some stronger than others, and that the love and power of their energy resided with me, abided with me in different ways. And so I thought, wow, that's really interesting, that spirit energy from the dogs. I'm sure that also happens with people. And I started paying attention to when loved ones passed, loved ones of other people that I knew passed, and I could see very clearly for myself that energy that all of us carry, that spirit that all of us carry, that spirit doesn't go away. And every time you have a memory, and every time she shows herself to you in the form of bluebirds, because that's what you asked, or anytime anybody else has a strong memory or a dream, or you can feel that connection, it's real. It's very much real.
Know it's real.
Because where are they all?
Yeah.
They're right here. They're right here.
You said.
Yeah.
Around you, surrounding you.
Around you, above you, through you.
I think it's just, I'm trying to understand the spiritual, because that's where I'm at, and it's so helpful because, growing up, humans, you see bodies and bodies, how you're taught, and then when they pass away, it's like you're learning something different, like.
Well, it's coming to know while you're in the body that you're not just your body, and that's also what meditation allows you to see for yourself, is that you're more than just this flesh and stuff. Anyway, longer conversation for another time.
That's when she comes back on in 10 years.
Okay.
We do this every 10 years with Oprah. You talked a little bit about Sophia, Color Purple. We know the whole story. And you know what amazes me is that if Sophia was born at a different time, she would be a trailblazer, a leader. But given the time and place she was born in, her power, people saw that as a threat.
Right.
So I was wondering, if Sophia can see the future of the little girl born in Mississippi, and see everything she was going to accomplish, what do you think she would say about Oprah Winfrey? What do you think she would say, seeing that vision, the little girl, and each year what you continue to accomplish? What would she say?
Well, there's a T-shirt that was going around. Actually, I have it and got it for all of my girls. Was a saying that said, "I am my ancestors' wildest dreams." I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. And I certainly feel that about myself. And I certainly understand that anything and everything that I've been able to accomplish was a result of people before me who made that possible, but who didn't even dream. And I tell you that many times I'm walking through my house, because when I was doing The Color Purple, I've kept journals since I was 15. You know that.
Yeah, of
but
course
one of the things I was writing in my journal, The Color Purple, is at the time I was renting an apartment in Chicago, and I was like, one day I want to have a beautiful house surrounded by trees and filled with beautiful things. And so I'm the kind of person that loves home and the building of home and creating home and the space for home more than I love travel and all the other stuff. I don't have to have a lot of things or acquire a lot of things. I went through my car phase. I went through my gotta have the best shoe phase. I went through my diamond phase. And now I just love home. And sometimes I'm walking through my home and I just tear up in the morning, because as I look out over the space, I think nobody in the history of my beginning imagined me having the space and the land and the place that I do. Yeah. So, poor people. There's a beautiful passage in Toni Morrison's book, The Bluest Eye, when she talks about people of poverty working, struggling all their days just to be able to have a little piece of land that they could call their own. And as I look out among, the trees and the grass and the gardens and whatever, I realize that I am the dream and the hope of the enslaved. Ooh. Yeah.
When you were saying this, I was thinking what I think you said, that when you left church with your father, who spoke at the church,
who was a deacon in the church,
you were in his, was it a green Oldsmobile?
Green,
and you went driving. You went in the white area. You saw the trees. And,
yes, yeah.
And I just think of
no. You know where we used to drive?
Where?
Through Belle Meade in Nashville.
That's where. Wow.
Through Belle Meade in Nashville, and now my friend Reese Witherspoon sent me. I think it was a postcard or something. No, not a postcard. It was a Christmas card, and it said. I said, "Oh my God, Reese, you live in Belle Meade."
Because you remember when you would go, "Wow,
Reese lives in Belle Meade." That is
so crazy. Wow.
Yes.
Well, I want to give you this because when you talked about Sophia, I want you to remember that moment of how proud she will be and how you've opened the door. So what we did is there's this young picture of you and there's this picture of Sophia, and we thought, well, I want you to remember that moment. So we created this for
Oh
you.
my goodness, what a great, beautiful thing that is.
Yeah.
That's me as Sophia.
Yes.
And that's me as my 3.5-year-old self, 3.5,
Yeah.
4 years old.
Yeah.
That's when I just started speaking. Oh, how did you do that? Well, you can do that. You can do that.
He worked in it for a couple of weeks. It was very special. Photoshopping,
That's
taking
a
an actual
beautiful
picture.
thing.
Yeah.
You're Sophia's wildest dream.
It's when you said that, I was like,
Oh my God.
I'm like, did she see that somehow?
I
Was
did
she
not
snooping?
see that.
I saw you snooping. I'm like,
I did not see that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I am Sophia's wildest dream. I am my ancestors' wildest dreams. Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. No, don't thank me. Thank you. Okay. What is your biggest dream today, then? Would you say Oprah's biggest dream?
Well, I sit in the seat of great contentment, and I wish that for everyone. I wish for everyone who's, and I know, and I see it with my girls. I mean, you're in your 30s. I have one who is a doctor at UPenn, and she was like, I hate this adulting thing. I looked at my pay, when she got her first paycheck, and she's like, they take so much taxes. Oh, welcome to the world, honey child.
Hello.
So everybody's in their 30s, you're in your striving mode, and around 42, 44, you hit your stride, and you settle into who you know yourself to be. And around 52, 54, I think you start to come to a place where you understand really clearly that you don't have as much time left as you've had, and you make peace with that, as you are also aspiring to continue to be the best you can at whatever it is you choose to do.
Because isn't life so much better when, like, you're sitting here, I'm sitting here, I'm doing what I love to do, you've been doing what you love to do, we're being our authentic self, we're not hiding anything.
Right.
There's even so much more for us to be doing in the next, in the years to come. So,
I love this so much. Yes. And so I don't have any great aspirations now because I've done so much.
Yeah.
I just kind of let myself go where life takes me.
Yeah.
So
That's so great.
Once, I was trying to figure out what was I going to do? Was I going to do something for the election? And once this moment happened with Kamala Harris, I decided, all right, I'll speak at the convention. All right, I will have that,
Thank you for doing that too. Thank you.
I will do whatever I can to support this moment in our country. And, I'll go wherever the next moment takes me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, this is how we're going to end it. So 8 years ago, we started this on our show, we call the Legend Awards, and we presented it. I presented to Carol Burnett, Julie Andrews, Gloria Estefan, Brooke Shields. We gave one to Gayle King earlier this year. But when we started this 8 years ago, I said to Patrick, God, this idea of really, if I can give this to Oprah, because I could sit here being who I am because of what you taught me. So we want to give you something very, very special.
I thought this was special.
Well, you got two special things, okay? You got two special things,
This
okay?
is really special. I get a lot of things, but I'm actually going to
That means a lot to us.
Yeah.
That means a lot to us. Thank you.
is
So
beautiful.
we're giving you a Spoonful of Apollo Most Authentic Legend Award. So this is going to be for you.
Wow.
Patrick's going to put the light on.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's you with, there's a quote on there that I kind of want you to read if you could see it.
My wish for you. Oh, I love this. I love this. So it's from Maya Angelou, who wrote this poem called Continue for me for my 50th birthday. If you haven't read the whole poem, you should.
Please do.
Google it. But this is the essence of what she was saying to me. My wish for you is that you continue. Continue to be who and how you are, to astonish a mean world with your acts of kindness. Continue to allow humor to lighten the burden of your tender heart. Continue in a society dark with cruelty to let the people hear the grandeur of God in the pearls of your laughter. Continue to let your eloquence elevate the people to heights they had only imagined. Dr. And Maya Angelou. Oh, I love this.
So-
This is just the
And it has
finest,
all
greatest
special
award.
pictures of you in your name that Patrick created, just like highlight moments of your
There's
of your
pictures
life.
of me getting the Medal of Freedom. There's pictures of me as Miss Fire Prevention.
Yes.
There's pictures of me at the girls' school.
Yep.
There's pictures of me as Sophia and the very
Yeah.
first Oprah Winfrey
Uh-huh.
Show. This is the most special award. I really have to tell y'all, this is the most special award. The most special. The most special.
Thank you so much. It means so much to us.
So thoughtful and so meaningful. And that line from Maya is like my epitaph, you know?
Well, thank you so much. Like, you know.
How thoughtful is that? How did you choose the pictures?
Oh, don't even ask him that. He had so many tabs on his computer. We thought about this. Yeah, I had to go through. I think he had like 400 pictures. Like, this is gonna take us a whole.
These are the big moments. The Oprah Show, Sophia, the school, Miss Fire Prevent. Oh yeah, those are huge. Those are huge. Thank you. Means the most. Thank you.
Well, this is when I want to say thank you to you, because I don't take it for granted, because millions of people, they love you, they adore you, you've helped so many people. And I know I'm one of those millions of people who get to sit here and say thank you from all of us, because you're so special, you're beyond special. And I hope that when you go home and you have that time for yourself, you can say that to yourself, wow, I am making a difference in this world, because you've changed my life, you've changed my family's life. I could never have dreamed this big. When you walked into my dad's grocery store, I knew this was going to be something life-changing, but I took what you gave me and I kept running and running and running. And there have been so many, like this wasn't easy. There's been so many challenges, but those challenges kept me going and going and going, that 20 years later, I get to sit here with you. And it's just, thank you.
That is precious to me. Thank you. I believe I'll run on, see what the end will be. Remember that? I believe I'll run on.
Don't sing it. No, sing it. Sing it. Sing it. I
See
love
what the end will be. Okay.
You know, that was one of my questions about that theme song. I'm like, I'm not going to ask her, but you just sang it, so I'm so happy right now.
I believe I'll run on. It's an old spiritual, you know, about I'm going to see what God has in store for me. Yes.
And that video is so good. Patrick and I watch it so many times.
I know. Run on, run on.
Did Gail like that video? When she saw, do you remember what she said? Let me take this because it's heavy.
No, it's good.
Are you
It's
sure?
good.
Did Gail, I'm just curious, was she like, girl, you're my best friend. She could sing. Like, what was she saying to you? Like, this is so good.
No. Gail did not say that about that,
Oh,
because
I'm gonna call her right now,
I
then.
needed so much work for that song. But Gail did call me after I was singing with Tina Turner on stage. She goes, I have to tell you, in all the years, I've never been jealous of anything, but I wish I was up there singing with Tina. Oh my gosh. That was the best.
Thank you. No, thank you so much. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for taking time. You've inspired me. You're inspiring everyone else out there. So from the bottom of my heart, I love you, Oprah Winfrey.
These are treasures. These are treasures.
We got you a good bag to put this all in there too.
Okay,
so
good.
Don't you worry.
You need a
we
big
take care of
bag
you.
for this.
Okay, so
Thank you, Paulo.
Oh, you're welcome,
Thank you.
Oprah.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank
Thank
you,
you
Patrick.
all. Thank you all for
Thanks
watching.
everybody
Thank
for
you.
watching.
Yay! Isn't she the best?
I
love you.
believe I'll run
Run on.
on.
That's how we're gonna end it. See you at the end.
Will be.
Okay, we love you so much. Thank you all. Give us a thumbs up, and we appreciate it. And dream big, and always believe in yourself. Always, okay? Because if I could do it, you could do it too. Stick with your dreams.
Manifest that dream.
Manifest that dream and get a vision board. That's what I did. Okay. All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye,
Thank you.
everybody.
Yay.
That's great.
Thank you so much.
I
I'm
can't
so glad you
believe
like it.
Sophia's wildest dream.
I'm so. And you were talking about it. I kept thinking, did she see what we wrote back there?
I didn't say anything.
No, I know. Oh my God.
No, it's a T-shirt. My Wild Ancestors' Wildest Dreams. We all bought it. I gave it to all the girls.
We have the box.